Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at this vintage Sony cassette recorder. Now I've had this for, well, probably at least a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. I picked it up at a car boot sale and it's absolutely enormous. It's heavy. It comes in a case, as you can see, and it's a bit dusty and dirty. So I thought it would be a bit of fun to give this one a bit of a clean and, well, we'll just see if it still works, really. Let's have a look if we can get into it here. Yeah. Wow, look at that. Amazing. So it is a little bit dusty, but I don't think there's going to be any sort of problem there. So let's just see what the brand is. The TC-126 Stereo Cassette Recorder from Sony. So that will be the subject of today's video. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so I suppose the first thing we should do is just empty the various components out of the case, just to see what we've got to play with here. So these look like some speaker leads of some sort. I do hope it's got a traditional plug. Here's one of the speakers. Here's the other speaker here. I say it's quite a kit, isn't it? And then we've got the actual cassette deck itself. God, that's heavy. You wouldn't believe the weight of it. You would not believe the weight of that. Right. Okay, well, I'm going to put these safe. I'm going to give the outside box a bit of a quick clean first. To be honest, on this case, it is mainly just dust where it's been sort of sat up. So I've got my trusty toothbrush here that I use to get into sort of nooks and crannies on plastic. I'm going to go ahead and do the worst bits. Oh, there's loads coming off. I'm going to go ahead and do the worst of it first of all. And then I'll run a damp cloth over it to finish it off. Now, just having a quick look there, I'm certain when I got this, I tested it, but I seem to remember I tested it with the batteries rather than the original power supply. And that's because it's got a very early plug on it, and I haven't got an adapter for it. In fact, it looks like it's an American one. Actually, let me just think about it. Yeah, I think it's an American plug, so I might be able to, I have got an American adapter, so we might, yeah, be able to give it a try and see if it still works, which I'm hoping it will do. What a weird thing to do though, by putting everything in like a case. I suppose Sony were, it was like an early sort of hi-fi system, I suppose, like an all-in-one, because it had the speakers with it as well. Now I remember buying this one, and it was back in the 90s when I was picking up a lot of retro gaming consoles. And someone had this, and they had an original Sony reel-to-reel, big stand-up affair, and I didn't really have room or the desire for the original reel-to-reel, though I regret it now because it was only, I think, like £8. And I picked this one up as well, which was also, I think, £7 or £8. So it wasn't a lot of money, but it was, really sort of attractive, and I couldn't afford to turn it down, really. It just appealed to my sort of retro nature, really. There's a lot more dust and dirt come off this than you can probably spot on the video, but it has come up very nice, I have to say. The toothbrush, here's a little tip this, you can just get it into all the little nooks and crannies. Now inside, it's not bad. It's just like, once again, it needs just a cloth to go around it. So I think I'll pause there. I'm going to go and get a damp cloth and we'll wipe the insides and then outside. Okay, so this is fairly damp, so I don't want to go crazy. But I'm just going to put enough on there to give this inside a bit of a wipe, and then we'll go over it with a duster. It's making a huge difference. It was just a little layer of dust more than anything. But like so much Sony stuff, it's really well made. And that's why I'm confident the tape deck itself is going to be fine if we can get it powered up. I've even found a really old vintage cassette to try, which is hopefully not going to trigger a copyright strike. Alright, there's that. That does look much better. Let's do the other bit now. So as you can see, there's loads of dust on the inside here, where maybe it's somehow slipped in through the seal, I don't know. As I said, it's probably been stored in my loft this for the best part of 15 years, maybe a little bit longer. So consequently, it has ended up with a little bit of dust, which is absolutely normal. Yes, if ever I was going to collect retro tech, not retro gaming, but you know, retro technology, like old TVs and radios and such, it would be Sony. Consistently great design, beautifully made actual equipment. It stood the test of time. Well, there we are. So that's the outside, looking absolutely great. Pleased with that. The inside, rather. Let's do this outside. It's got a few scuffs and bits of dirt and things on here, so we may be a little bit limited in how well this comes up, but until we give it a go, using the flob of water here, just sort of seeping in, because the actual case itself has got this like textured feel to it, and there's probably a real layer of dust and dirt in there that we can't even see. This sort of backside seems much more damaged than the front side. Maybe where it's been laid down. Getting embossed over there in the corner. Tokyo, Japan. Now that I know the model, I should be able to look this one up, and we can guess at when this one was actually manufactured, but my guess is early-ish 70s, you know, between 72 and 75, but I should be able to look that up in a minute and we'll have a better idea. So there we are, that's the case, all done as nice as we can get it, I think. Really impressive bit of kit. So now then, we'll go on to the two speakers now. Now, to be honest, on first look, these don't appear too bad. It's just, once again, a little bit of dust, a little bit of dirt in a couple of the grooves. On the whole, these look actually really nice condition. So I think I'll just give them the once over first of all with this now slightly damp duster, and that should get off the surface dust first of all, and then we'll see if there's anything a bit more permanent underneath. It's a bit difficult to tell, but possibly in a little bit of the grills here there's a little bit of marking. So I'm just seeing if this can just lodge it at all. No, it can't, but even so, I think that's all right. Now, the actual leads for this are on the back, so I'll leave them sort of wrapped up for now. It's interesting that this was designed so that you could hang them on a wall. You see these have got like little things, so you could literally hang them upon your wall like that, which is pretty cool, isn't it? And they got a standard jack on the end here. So anyway, that's the first one. It's absolutely fine. Let's do this second one here. Do the same sort of treatment where we use this edge of the duster here, which is semi-damp, and just use it to give all the edges a clean. This one, can't see any sort of marks on the front here. It's already really, really nice condition, and that's probably because it's been kept in that case, the storage case. So I mean, that's absolutely immaculate. There's literally nothing wrong with it. So let's pop that one over there as well. And now that leaves the main device. Well, first thing then is, you just cannot believe how heavy it is. I mean, it really, really is heavy. I do vaguely remember using these as a kid. I was a child of the 70s, shall we say, and I remember these fairly well. This one certainly doesn't look in bad condition at all. There's just a little bit of dust and stuff, which we'll attend to in a minute. So it's got tone, left and right tone dials there. Big old headphone jack. The volume, so this is just a volume 1 to 10, so we've got a 5. And then there's a left and right balance. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Then you've got, oh, this is great. Look down the bottom here, a mono or stereo. And then a normal cassette or a CR02, a chrome cassette. Look at that, how amazing is that? Now, button-wise, I just angle the camera down a bit. Button-wise, we've got the eject, yeah. There's a tape counter on the front there, which I've just set to 0. This is a recording level, which is a bit dusty. There we are. So that's when you're doing a recording. Also give you an idea of the battery. I don't know if it auto flips sideways. There's the pause button. Then it's got the usual stop, fast forward, and play. Fast forward, rewind, and play, and eject. So pretty standard buttons there. On the side, we've got the power supply in, and then the input. I was set to 240, so that's okay. On the back, we've got our speaker monitor. So we want the speakers on or off. Well, we'd obviously want them on. And then you've got your right in and out and left in and out. Brilliant. On this side, there's no end to them. You could plug in a microphone, a left and right microphone, a remote control, and a left and right speaker, if those are the speakers that you've got, which we have. Ours are the ones that fit in on this side, whereas those ones are ones for like an amp. On the back here, you've got the name flash there. Let's zoom in on that one. So it just says the TC-126 stereo cassette recorder. Very low number, that look, 14,213. Flashlight battery, which is a size C. And it has got a battery compartment. So you would have popped your 4 batteries in there. And that looks clean as well. So while that back bit is off, I'll give that a bit of a clean. As I said, it's not looking too bad, this, all things considered. I really hope we can bring it to life, though. That would be cool, wouldn't it? That would be cool. Bit of retro tech. I remember back in the day when I used to do a lot of boot setting and picking up old video game systems. I'd spend a Sunday afternoon, we'd be out all morning finding stuff, and then in the afternoon we'd be spent cleaning it up and getting it ship shape again. And some of it, you'd be surprised how good you could get things back into their original condition. This isn't bad at all, to be honest. It's just a little dusty. Alright, so just clean these last few bits. Certainly not too bad. These sort of grilled fronts would always be notorious for picking up dirt, wouldn't they? But I seem to remember vaguely that I gave this one a bit of a cursory clean when I got it all those years ago. So it's certainly not too bad. Let's try the front here. And I'm just using this soft cloth. It's absolutely perfect for this sort of thing. We don't want to cause it any harm. It's got a few tiny little dinks and marks where it's been used over the years, but you would expect that with something that's the best part of, I think 50 years old. Lovely. Okay, so before we get weaving then, I am going to have a look and see if I've got something which resembles a power supply that would actually work on this. So let me go and grab that now. So I've had a good look around, and sadly I have not got a plug that fits it. Now this particular one, the power lead, this is the bit that goes in the side here, but unfortunately it's got an American fitting. Now I've got plugs for when you go to the States which go into the a British to American adapter, but I haven't got one going the other way, unfortunately. So I've not been able to test it, and I haven't got 4 of the large batteries that are needed. But I do remember when I first got this, I did have the batteries around and I tested it, and I couldn't believe the quality of the sound that came off it. So as well as being able to connect it with the leads on the back of the speakers, I did also have just a normal set of stereo leads with it as well. Now I've been online and I have checked, and this particular cassette recorder was manufactured by Sony from 1972 to 1974, and the ones that I've seen online, I've only seen one other one which has still got its case. Most of them, they're either the unit on itself or the unit and the speakers. And when you think this is almost 50 years old, that's not unsurprising. The only thing missing from this is in fact the instruction booklet, and I have found those online, and they go for about £8 or £9 a pop. The only one of these that I found that sold recently was this unit on its own, and it went for just under £100. So there you go. I guess it is quite a sought after bit of retro tech. Anyway, it's now nice and clean, and I'm happy to keep this one in my collection as a real masterpiece of early technology design from Sony, and it's a lovely, lovely piece of kit. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this little look at this vintage Sony cassette recorder. If you have, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for regular retro content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.